I didn't go to my mother's funeral to mourn. I went to collect the inheritance she promised and to finally prove I was worth something. The old chapel smelled of damp wood and regret. Rain tapped a relentless rhythm against the stained glass windows, casting shifting patterns of sapphire and ruby on the casket. Each drop felt like a cold finger tapping on the coffin lid of my own conscience. My brother David sat beside me, his shoulders squared, his jaw tight. He was the good son, the one who stayed. I was Elena, the one who left to chase a glittering dream that turned out to be fool's gold. The lawyer, a man with a voice like gravel and eyes that had seen too many fractured families, cleared his throat. Eleanor Shaw was a woman of simple means but profound wisdom, he began. I barely listened. My mind was already counting the zeros, picturing the freedom her savings would buy me from my mounting debts and failed ambitions. She'd always whispered of a safety net, a legacy for me. I needed that legacy now more than I needed air. The entirety of her estate, the lawyer announced, his words slicing through the humid air, consists of her cottage and its contents. He paused, his gaze lingering on me. And one letter for each of you. A letter, not a check, not a bond, a piece of paper. My heart sank like a stone in a well. David received his with a quiet nod. He slipped it into his pocket, unopened, a gesture of such profound patience it felt like an accusation. I, on the other hand, tore into mine the moment the cold air outside hit my face. The handwriting was my mother's, elegant and unwavering, a stark contrast to the chaos it unleashed in my soul. My dearest Elena, if you are reading this, you are disappointed. I know you. I know you expected a key to a different life, but the only key I ever possessed is the one taped to this letter. It opens the small oak box buried beneath the floorboards of my bedroom closet, right where you used to hide your childhood secrets. What's inside is the only true wealth I ever had. Use it wisely. I have always loved you, even when you couldn't love yourself. Mom. The key was cold and small in my palm. Humiliation burned my cheeks. Was this her final joke? A lesson in humility from beyond the grave? David placed a hand on my shoulder. You okay, Elle? No, I whispered, the word brittle. She left me a scavenger hunt, probably a stack of old recipes and a dried rose. He smiled, a sad, knowing thing. Then let's go find your treasure. The cottage was a museum of my guilt. Every doily, every faded photograph, every book on the shelf whispered of the time I hadn't spent here. The air was thick with the ghost of her lavender perfume. We went straight to her bedroom. The floorboard, as described, creaked under our pressure. I pried it up, my fingers trembling, and there it was. A small, weathered oak box, locked tight. This is it, I breathed, my voice a mix of anticipation and resentment. I fitted the key, turned it. The click echoed in the silent room. I lifted the lid. There was no money, no jewelry, no deed to a secret property. There were three things inside. The first was my father's old pocket watch, the glass face cracked, forever frozen at 4:07, the exact time he had passed away when I was 10. The second was a small cloth-bound book, its pages filled with my mother's handwriting. But it was the third item that stole the air from my lungs. It was a faded ultrasound photo. Scrawled in the corner, in my mother's hand, were the words, Our Little Hope. Gone too soon. 1998. I was 16. A baby? I gasped, my legs giving way. I sat heavily on the floor, the photo shaking in my hand. David? Did you know? His face was ashen. He shook his head, sinking down beside me. No, I never. Mom never said a word. I opened the cloth-bound book. It wasn't a diary. It was a ledger of a different kind. March 15th, 1998. The first entry began. The doctor confirmed it today. A little light in the winter. But the same cough that took Robert is in my lungs now. The doctor was clear. To carry this child to term would be to sign my own death warrant. I have Elena to think of. My bright, fiery girl who needs a mother more than she needs a sibling. The choice is no choice at all. I choose Elena. I turn the page, my vision blurring. April 10th, 1998. It is done. The silence in the house is a physical weight. I held Robert's watch today, the hand still at the hour he left me. Now I've let another piece of us go. I pray one day Elena will understand that every no I ever said to her was a yes to keeping her safe. Every time I seemed tired or distant or strict, it was because I was carrying this emptiness. I built my entire life around the daughter I got to keep. Page after page, the truth unfolded not as a dramatic confession, but as a quiet, relentless ache. The safety net she spoke of wasn't financial. It was the story of her sacrifices, a map of the silent battles she fought so my world could remain intact. The time she wouldn't let me go to that party in the city, the entry revealed she'd had a severe bout of pneumonia and was afraid of being alone. The year she seemed so frugal, mending my old coats instead of buying new. It was the year she paid off the final medical bill from the procedure. She gave up everything, I sobbed, the words tearing from a place deep inside I didn't know existed. She gave up her child, for me. And I called her boring. I said she didn't understand ambition. I looked at David, my face raw with a shame so complete it was purifying. All I ever did was take. I thought I was the one who was betrayed, that she never supported my dreams. But I was the one betraying her every single day with my ingratitude. David wrapped his arms around me as I cried for the mother I never knew, for the sibling I never had, for the years I had wasted in selfish blindness. The cinematic twist wasn't a hidden fortune. It was the devastating revelation of a love so profound it had chosen silence over applause, sacrifice over legacy. I had come for an inheritance of money, but I found the inheritance of truth. And in that truth, I found the only thing that could truly save me, humility and the first raw seed of forgiveness. For her, for keeping the secret, and for myself, for being too blind to see the fortress she had built around me with her silence. I held my father's broken watch, its hands forever still, and finally understood. Some loves aren't meant to be loud. They are quiet, steadfast, and buried deep, waiting for the moment you're ready to dig them up and finally understand the weight of the world someone else carried for you. Final line. The greatest legacy is not what we are given, but the silent battles others fought in the dark so we could stand in the light. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments.